Leadership is complex. The question is, how do you handle it, and what are the most important aspects of this? And we have an author with us here, back by popular demand. He was with us a couple of months ago, and he's now back. Hello and welcome back, Ernesto Gomez.
Hello, Niels. I'm very glad to meet with you and your audience again. Very excited.
Thank you very much for taking the time. We get straight into it. You wrote a new book which is called The Soul Edge. So, what is this book? It says from extractive to regenerative performance, leading at the human frontier in the age of AI, in the age of intelligence. So, what is this book about, and what motivated you specifically to write it in this point in time?
Well, I think your audience relates to the following. We are running this race to implement AI as soon as possible. There's a lot of pressure in boards, leaders, C-suites, etc. And everybody's racing this race, like crazy. But I wonder if we are running the right race. That's what
Hmm.
I kind of pose in the book. And let me tell you why. It feels more like a hamster wheel than a race, to be honest with you, because we're just moving really fast without making any progress to account for. There is a study from McKinsey that just came out a couple of weeks ago that says that 79% of companies have implemented AI. Only a third can show any progress beyond a pilot.
Yeah.
And out of those, just one in four, it's really showing some economic return. So the economic case, it's kind of fuzzy. And also, we have a problem of disengagement. Uh,
Hmm.
Gallup came with a report, a couple of months ago, also saying that disengagement is on the rise. It's almost at pandemic levels.
Yes.
And not only because
Absolutely.
of the baseline is disengaged, now managers and senior managers are getting disengaged as well.
Mm.
But this is a standing ground where we have to implement AI. And I wonder, well, what is the bottleneck? The
Yeah.
bottleneck is not really technological, it's human.
Mm.
And what I present in the book, is that what at the bottom, what is happening is there is a change in the way we perform. Performance back in the day was defined by an extractive equation. That's what I say. And this extractive equation consists of a lot of control. You have all your systems to control.
Yes. Yeah.
Then you have
Monitor,
your
monitor, monitor. Exactly. Yeah.
exactly. And then you have your know-how, your competitive advantage, whatever codified intelligence you have to, distinguish yourself in the market. And then you put a lot of pressure into that. Pressure in the means that, more, 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 more. And that has been very successful. The problem is that if you remove the know-how part, because now artificial intelligence is kind of eroding the advantages that all companies used to have. You're left with control and pressure.
Yeah.
So that's not a good recipe to flourish. And I think that that model is going to suffocate. That's what
Mm.
I said in the book. And then I propose a transition. Well, if we are running from an extractive model, how would a regenerative performance model would look like? And in the book, I present, the steps and the frameworks to do that.
Mm. Excellent. I mean, we can say I just recently read a study from the Wharton Business School and University of Pennsylvania where they surveyed companies about the return on invest and AI. And they said that the companies hovered between roughly 55 to 65% of the companies said the category they choose is either behind expectations or even far behind expectations. Meaning when you are behind, when you are somewhere in the 55 to 65% area, it means investing in AI has less odds than a bet on a roulette table at a casino. So
Exactly.
that is, so how do you now, let's say you have people who are sitting there and say, it all makes sense. I understand that. However, our management is fully on the bandwagon on, look, AI is everything and we need to invest in AI and it needs to be AI and AI everywhere and whatnot else. How to convince people that they follow your path to say, look, there is something else, there's a different take on it.
I participate in a couple of boards, of large multinational
I mean, you had
corporate.
a massive international career as an executive, I know. Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Exactly. And what I see now is that there is a lot of frustration because, of course, the bottom line is not really improving. And they're starting to asking questions why. The only thing is that the pressure goes beyond just recommendations. Now there are incentives, bonuses assigned to how much progress you can make. And I really think that there has to be a moment to soul search, as I say in the book,
Mm-hmm.
to really understand what am I not doing, because there is value into it. We cannot say it is not. There is a lot of value. This is once in a lifetime change for the world. But the question is, what should we be doing? We have to be more reflective and not just push, push, push.
Mm.
And that's what I think some people are bringing it to the table. And quite frankly, I think that HR, human resources, it's a key part into bringing this conversation in the table. I mean, we have to grow. There is economic value to capture, no doubt
Yeah.
about that, and we should pursue it. I wonder if we're running the right race.
Mm. So you think that we might should focus on specific human traits that AI cannot replicate or cannot imitate at all?
Exactly. What I'm saying is that regenerative performance, which is what we should be looking into right now, it consists of human capacity, the alignment of yourself and the whole team around it, and then how you derive meaning from all of that. Because that part, human capacity, your judgment, ingenuity, curiosity. In the book, I say that it goes through a four-step process. You have
Mm-hmm.
to start with the skills because you have to have certain level of skills, and then you go into the mindset because now we have to be more fluid in the way we approach things. The change is so rapid and so profound. And then I think we go to a place that I call the soul signature, meaning you have to go inside and say, where are my qualities, my essential qualities? What am I all about? What's really human? This
Mm-hmm.
begs the question, what makes us really, human? And from there, I think that there has to be an opening as well, saying, I may not have all the answers myself, and I'm ready to hear, to download from everywhere. If there is inspiration, if there is creativity, if there is something that my environment can bring me, so be it. Let's open to that. And that is also it's very important to have a baseline of awareness. If you don't have awareness, I think that's the very basic skill that makes us human. If you don't have awareness, I don't know. There's saying that AI can be conscious. I'm not sure that's true, but I've heard very intelligent people trying to put that argument up front. But the only thing that AI will never have is a soul.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think
that's
we
why
agree here.
I named my book The Solvage.
Yeah.
Because even if you think that AI can be conscious, which I don't, but even if you think that, you cannot really think of AI as having a soul. And
Mm.
that's the baseline that you have to use to build your strategy around.
Yeah. Excellent. Perfect. When people now say, I think this book might be a good read, and probably they say afterwards, I think Ernesto could be of help for us as a mentor, coach, or as a speaker at our conference. Of course, one question I have to ask here, how can people get in touch with you?
I have a web page named Aspen Mindset One. One is number one, aspenmindset1.com. And you can read all about me and my books and what I do. And you can also there write me an email. You can also contact me through LinkedIn. I'm Ernesto Gomez Arzapalo in LinkedIn, and you can send me a message, and I will be more than glad to talk to your audience. And I mean, there is one thing that I find nobody really knows how this is going to evolve. That's for sure. But I think that what we all know is that if we don't consider the human part, if we don't really leverage our essential human qualities, this is not going to work. And there's an economic case to be made out of this. The disengagement, by the way, is costing about $10 trillion now.
Mm.
Is 9% of GDP, according to
Yeah.
Gao. So there is a lot of value to capture. But the uncomfortable conversation now is, am I willing to speak soul to my teammates or to my boss or to my employees? Am I willing to cross that frontier? That's what I say. This is leading from the human frontier. We have to be able to have these conversations, which traditionally we don't have because we speak to the role, not to the soul of the person behind the position.
Yeah, perfect. I think these are the perfect final words. The Soul Edge, you know what is the next book you need to read. And of course, you now know how to get in touch with Ernesto. So at the end of this interview, there's only one thing left for me to say. Ernesto, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much, Niels. I'm so happy to see you again.